Gwinnett County. Isabel Martinez accused of stabbing her 4 children and their father, her husband, to death. Her court appearance was, to put it mildly, bizarre. She posed for cameras, even gave a thumbs up, as you can see. And that's how it went. Joining me right now, Dr. Erik Fisher is here, a clinical psychologist, and of course, Daryl Cohen is here, the fine attorney. Good to have both of you guys here. I wish we were talking about a happier subject, but I want to run the video right now of her in court today and give me your impression, what you're seeing. Daryl, let's begin with you.
I'm seeing a woman who is either psychologically disturbed, or I'm seeing a woman who's setting up a defense of insanity.
Dr. Fisher, you?
To me, there's no masking of any behavior. It doesn't seem like any manipulation, and my concern would be, again, without examining her, that she potentially had some type of psychotic break or emotional breakdown that could have occurred before this event and likely occurred before.
Do you believe this is real?
In my, just again, looking at it through a TV screen, it looks pretty authentic.
As an attorney, Daryl, you've seen these kinds of behaviors before. Do you believe it's real?
It doesn't matter to me whether it's real, because if it's real, after Reagan was shot, our president, all the states went after and said guilty but insane, and he enacted laws to do that.
Talking about John Hinckley.
Yes, correct. And so even if it's real, there are laws in place to prosecute her whether or not it's real.
So she declines legal representation. What does that mean legally, and what does that mean psychologically in terms of trying to make sure that she gets a defense despite what might be an impaired ability to make that decision?
Well, legally, she has a right to defend herself. Now, the court will appoint a lawyer to be with her. Whether or not that lawyer actually tries a case or not, that's a whole different situation. But she has the right to defend herself. And it also means the court has to be very, very careful to make sure all of her constitutional rights are protected, even though, as I understand it, she's an illegal alien.
Dr. Fisher, when you see that, give me your view, your sense of how she can be protected, at least legally.
Well, does she have the competency, the psychological competency to make a decision of her own volition? If she is not found to be not sane or not able to make her own decisions, then there's a whole nother situation. She needs to be evaluated psychiatrically very carefully in order to make that decision.
And is that determination going on right now?
Not yet. No.
Not yet.
I would think there will be a court-appointed psychiatrist to evaluate her, and psychologist to evaluate her, see if she knows right from wrong, to see exactly what's going on in her mind as best they can.
What sort of process is that, Dr. Fisher, as far as trying to determine that? Is that weeks? Is that days? And how does the questioning go for the most part?
Well, I think in these situations, you want to do very comprehensive questions. You want to look at history. What you're looking for is this a sudden onset? We know that her father died, and from the reports that said that this was a close-knit family and a close-knit neighborhood, that after the death of the father, her behavior started to change from news reports, that she became less amiable and was behaved more rudely to people after that. So you might have been seeing a process that might have been there all along, but then this resulted, this stressor precipitated this behavior.
Daryl, it appears also that she is in this country illegally. How does that complicate it, and how does it now play out potentially? Could she be convicted here if she is deemed to be sane and then have to serve her time in Mexico?
Well, she could actually be convicted here even if she's deemed to be insane, because she'd be guilty but insane. My guess would be that she would serve her time here and she will get several life sentences, and then when and if she is ever paroled, she would then be immediately deported. They certainly would not deport her now, because if they did, she could sneak back and then they would go through this again. And it almost doesn't matter whether she was sane or not. You don't want this type of person on the streets to ever be able to do something this heinous again.
Time frame of this, what are we looking at?
I would say probably months before we're actually in court as far as an indictment goes, and then it could take another several months before the various psychiatrists on either side, the defense and the prosecution side, decide where they need to go and whether or not they can work out a plea.
Seconds left, Dr. Fisher. Final thoughts on this?
I think, again, we have to look at these cases like this and make sure that we're getting our people help in our communities that need mental health help and assessments, and really, because this is something that is happening often, and it's more often than it needs to happen.
Dr. Fisher, Daryl Cohen, thanks for being with us on this Friday. We appreciate your insight.
Thank you.
Melissa?
Very insightful conversation. Thank you.